Hmm. Okay. Ever so slightly late here. Excuse me. Excuse me, better drink something. You are hearing the voice of Patricia Angelin coughing away, having been so excited about being at all the feels on my very own birthday that I actually swallowed some spittle. Isn't that funny? So, cough, cough, cough. Thank you for joining me. I see we have another recent birthday girl who's watching, Ms. Katie McConaughey. Thank you for being here. And today is my birthday, and the flowers that you saw when you first joined me are a great surprise that I was given, on my way in just before I started with this. So I thought I will share them with you. And they come from downstairs, and they are from Bill, who is the proprietor of Essex Flowers, and Holly's Wholesale Roses, and they're on 28th Street here in the same building where the Alba Technique studio is. And aren't those absolutely beautiful? He put 24 roses in it, and I see rosemary, which is for remembrance, and hypericon and hydrangea, and just absolutely beautiful. So we're very grateful to Bill for those flowers. He also, I think you'll get a kick out of this, he also sent me this card. Birthday girl, this will be behind. And it was signed by, my neighbors in the building. And it's so wonderful. And real New Yorkers, lottery tickets. So we're going to hope that I am lucky. Look at all 4 sets of lottery tickets. I would never play a lottery on my own. So this is a great fun birthday thing for me. Today, we will approach a poem by Robert Southey. And it is my response to the situation in Ukraine. As you know well, I don't ever do anything remotely political. This is about human emotion, it's about our feelings, and those things are universal. And our response to war is age-old, human, and also universal. So that is my response. And Robert Southey, the poet, is one of the Lake poets. He was born in 1774 and died in 1843, so he spans the 1774, whereas we're becoming a country, or working at it anyway, in the United States of America, and died in the early reign of Queen Victoria. The Lake Poets refers to the Lake District in the northwest of England, just below Scotland. Very, very beautiful area if you ever get a chance to go and see it. And other of his fellow poets would have been Lord Byron and Coleridge, Samuel Coleridge. He of water everywhere, and not a drop to drink, and that sort of thing. So Coleridge and Wordsworth, he would have been in that particular group of contemporary poets. And what he is writing about in this particular poem, you can, if you saw the film, a 2018 film, The Favorite, he's writing about the Queen Anne period, which would have been almost 100 years, certainly, before he actually wrote this poem. He wrote this poem in 1796, and the Battle of Blenheim took place in 1704 during the reign of Queen Anne in England. So if you've ever seen the film of 2018, The Favorite, it is about the Battle of Blenheim that was fought and was a great victory for England. Did change the face of Europe, and the the film is more about the women involved. It's about Lady Sarah Churchill, holding down the fort at home while her husband, they were created Duke and Duchess by the reigning monarch, Queen Anne. And she gifted them with this amazing palace, which if you do ever get to England, you do want to go to. I mean, it's a pile of old stones, but it's a pile of old stones unlike anything you've ever seen. It's a pile of old stones like Versailles is a pile of old stones. I mean, absolutely over the top. And this was from a grateful nation because of the Battle of Blenheim being this huge victory, for England. And so Robert Southey, 4 generations later, is responding to the victory of the Battle of Blenheim in 1796. And here we are. This poem is an anti-war poem. The Battle of Blenheim. It was a summer evening. Old Caspar's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun, and by him sported on the green his little grandchild, Wilhelmine. She saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round that he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. She ran to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. Old Caspar took it from the boy, who stood expectant by, and then the old man shook his head, and with a natural sigh, "'Tis some poor fellow's skull," said he, "who fell in the great victory. I found them in my garden, for there's many hereabout, and often when I go to plough, the ploughshare turns them out. For many thousand men," said he, "were slain in that great victory." "Now tell us what 'twas all about," young Peterkin he cries, and little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-waiting eyes. "Now tell us all about the war, and what they fought each other for." "It was the English," Caspar cried, "who put the French to rout. But what they fought each other for, I could not well make out. But everybody said," quoth he, "that 'twas a famous victory. My father lived at Blenheim then, yon little stream hard by. They burned his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. With fire and sword and country round was wasted far and wide, and many a childing mother then and new-born baby died. But things like that, must be at every famous victory. They say it was a shocking sight after the field was won, for many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. But things like that, must be after a famous victory. Great praise the Duke of Marlborough won, and our good Prince Eugene. Why, 'twas a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Nay, nay, my little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory. And everybody praised the Duke, who this great fight did win. But what good came of it at last? Quoth little Peterkin. Why, that I cannot tell, said he, but 'twas a famous victory. Robert Southey, The Battle of Blenheim. And in view of what is going on in Ukraine, we know that over time, for somebody, There'll be some kind of a victory. And I will now think, having seen this poem for the first time, it's a very, very good anti-war war poem, because I think it touches upon how far away international diplomacy is from the experience of the people on the ground, which is what we all know about war. And how does that make us feel? How does that make us feel? I thank you very much for joining me. And I would suggest that you Google the Battle of Blenheim. Am I getting it right? Yes, the Battle of Blenheim, August 13th, 1704, by Robert Southey. And take a quick look at it, reading it in your own mind, and then go through it again, reading it out loud so that you hear it from your own ears and on your own lips and vibrating in your own body. And then see how it makes you feel. That might be a little bit different than how you felt when you were simply following my voice. We're so visual, you know, that it's a very good exercise to simply hear poetry. Very good. I commend us all. But then to follow up, to get it into us, we need to probably see it, and we then need to speak it ourselves. And so the comment here, we'll take a look down, from Moore Onyani Harrington is, I think I will use this with my students, says she. Had just finished the anti-war, I better look at this with my glasses, hadn't I? Just finished the anti-war book, you meant, All Quiet on the Western Front, which is about World War I, of course. And look, you know, what World War I did to J.R.R. Tolkien and what came out of it. So even out of great horrors, some good will come, because all things work for good for those who love God. And a lot of good people in Ukraine. But to go to this wonderful poem, I think, was an excellent thing for us to have done. And I'm glad it was recommended to me, and I'm glad to have approached it for the first time. And I thank you very much for joining me at All the Fields. And next week we will be on Instagram Live. And very soon, if you want to rehear this poem, you will be able to do it at Alba Technique on the YouTube channel, Alba Technique. Thank you. Bless you all. And goodbye for today.